people think they know America's cities, highways, and national postcards. But beyond the crowds lies another America, one that breathes, hunts, howls, and hides. A land where nature still writes the laws. This isn't the America of billboards and boulevards. This is the America of bison thundering across hidden plains, wolves slipping through misty forests, and swamps where glowing eyes watch from the dark. From the alien Badlands of Bisti or Denazin in New Mexico, to the burning red waves of sandstone on the Arizona-Utah border, from the ancient pillar of Devil's Tower in Wyoming, to the endless black waters of Okefenokee Swamp. These are places most will never see, and some never even believe exist. No gift shops, no guardrails, no guarantees. Only raw earth, untamed creatures, and the last whispers of true wilderness. So today, we leave behind the highways and step into the wild heart of America. Welcome to the America almost forgotten, but never tamed. If you thought you knew swamps, think again. Spread across 438,000 acres, the Okefenokee Swamp is not just a wetland, it's a living, breathing ecosystem that has thrived for over 6,500 years, long before roads, towns, or even the United States existed. The water is stained dark like tea from tannins, giving it that eerie mirror-like surface where trees appear upside down. Step too close, and you'll see why locals say the swamp watches back. Home to over 12,000 alligators, Okefenokee is one of the last places in America where nature truly rules. But it's not just gators. Over 600 species, from sandhill cranes to black bears, thrive in this flooded forest. Some creatures here exist nowhere else on Earth. Beneath the surface lies an incredible secret, the peat. In dry seasons, it can ignite underground, burning silently for months, fire without flame, fed by ancient earth. Historically, the Seminole and Creek peoples navigated this labyrinth in dugout canoes. They believed this place wasn't dangerous, it was sacred, a realm between life and spirit. Today, it remains one of the wildest places in the United States. No highways, no cities, just endless water whispering through the cypress. On the far western edge of America, past the last gas stations and flickering town lights, lies a place that refuses to be mapped by curiosity alone, the Olympic Peninsula. It isn't just scenic, it's elusive, as if nature here still holds the final word. Step into the Hoh rainforest, where ancient trees wear moss like royal cloaks and silence feels alive. Trails twist under cathedral-like canopies, and some hikers swear the forest moves, that landmarks vanish and sounds echo from nowhere. Here, you don't explore, you're allowed in. But that's only the beginning. Further north, hidden beyond ordinary travel guides, sits Lake Quinault, a misty glacial lake cradled by rainforest. Locals call it enchanted, a place where fog rises like spirits at dawn, and towering, record-breaking trees guard the shoreline like ancient sentinels. Few know about Kestner Homestead, an abandoned 1900s farm swallowed by wilderness, creaking softly as if someone still lives there. Then there's Lake Crescent, a deep, sapphire blue mystery carved by ice and legend. Its waters are so cold and pure, they preserve what sinks, and some things, once lost, never surface again. They say two lovers vanished here, and the lake kept their secret for decades. Lake Crescent was carved by ancient glaciers but has no visible rivers flowing in or out, yet stays full. Geologists suspect underground channels, but its isolated chemistry has created one-of-a-kind water and eerie preservation bodies, turning to soapstone, a geological mystery still not fully explained. Follow the call of the Pacific and you reach Shishi Beach, one of the most remote shorelines in America. Jagged sea stacks rising like forgotten ruins, tide pools glowing with hidden creatures. Hike far enough and you'll find Point of Arches, a surreal stone labyrinth that appears only at low tide, a place that looks borrowed from another world. But the peninsula has one last secret: Hurricane Ridge. On clear days, you see everything: glaciers, rainforest valleys, even Canada on the horizon. But when storms roll in, the view vanishes into blinding white. It's said that, up there, weather moves without warning, as if the mountains choose who gets to see them. Sadona isn't the kind of beauty you stumble upon. It's the kind that stops you cold, like the earth itself hit pause to show off. These towering red rocks, Cathedral Rock, Bell Rock, Courthouse Butte, aren't just scenery. They're pages of Earth's diary, stacked in sandstone, formed over 300 million years, when this land was underwater. Then desert, then sculpted by wind so precise it could carve a cathedral. Most churches are built on holy ground, but in Sadona, Arizona, one was built from it. The Chapel of the Holy Cross, perched high in the red rocks, wasn't dropped into this desert by accident. Its architect, Marguerite Brunswick Staude, originally planned it for Europe until a vision struck her while driving through Sadona. She said the rocks themselves lifted her eyes to God. Construction began in 1954, and here's the secret: no stones were carved for it. The entire structure is anchored directly into a natural sandstone butte, as if it grew there. Hidden in the remote desert of northwestern New Mexico, about 36 miles south of Farmington, lies one of America's strangest landscapes, the Bisti, or also called Danazin Wilderness. A place so alien, it feels like you've stepped onto another planet. This 45,000-acre Badland is a graveyard of ancient worlds. "70 million years ago, this was a lush coastal swamp, home to dinosaurs. Today, it's a silent maze of eroded hoodoos, petrified wood, and rock formations shaped like wings, skulls, and forgotten creatures. Locals call it the Valley of Dreams. There are no trails, no signs, no facilities, just pure wilderness. Once inside, GPS becomes useless, you navigate by instinct or not at all. You do not know this lesser-known wonders hidden inside Bisti. The Cracked Eggs, or Alien Eggs Field, is an oval rock formation scattered like fossilized dragon eggs. The Stone Wings, thin rock blades balancing impossibly on narrow columns. The Bisti Beast discovery in 1998, paleontologists uncovered a new dinosaur species here, Bistahevosaur sealeyi, a relative of T-Rex. At sunrise, the land glows orange and purple. At night, under the Milky Way, the formations cast eerie shadows. And the silence feels alive. There are no legends, no myths, just geology, time, and the haunting realization that this land remembers a world long before us and will remain long after. If Earth ever tried sculpting a desert dream, it would look like the wave, hidden on the Arizona-Utah border. At first glance, it seems fake, like a painting someone forgot to finish. But this isn't art. This is 190 million years of wind and water turning sandstone into swirling ribbons of fire. But here's the first twist. The wave isn't even a single formation. It's two main troughs, the North Wave and the South Wave. Frozen sand dunes turned to rock during the Jurassic era, when this land was a desert bigger than the Sahara. Formed by wind, not water. Most canyons are carved by rivers, not this one. The wave was shaped almost entirely by wind. The lottery fewer get than Harvard. You can't just hike to the wave. Only 20 people per day are allowed. Statistically, it's easier to get into Harvard than to win the permit lottery. Some people apply for years and never touch it. From miles away, it rises a colossal pillar breaking through the prairie, as if something underground tried to escape. Devil's Tower, standing in northeastern Wyoming, near the town of Hulett, in the Black Hills region, is impossible to ignore and even harder to explain. It doesn't sit in a mountain range. It is the mountain. A lone giant with no mountain range. Geologists argue over how it formed a volcanic plug, a magma intrusion, a buried molten heart exposed by time. But no one knows for certain. Everything around it eroded away, yet this survived. Like Earth left one final monument to remind us we don't have it all figured out. Nature's perfect geometry. Look at the sides, long, vertical columns, each a perfect hexagon or pentagon, stacked like stone organ pipes. These are some of the largest natural columns on Earth, formed as molten rock cooled slowly, cracking with chilling precision. This isn't just erosion, it's craftsmanship. More than a tower, a sacred memory. To Native American tribes, it's never been Devil's Tower. The Lakota call it Mato Tipila Bear Lodge. One legend says 7 sisters fled a giant bear. The earth rose to save them. The bear clawed the sides, leaving deep grooves as it failed to reach them. We leave the mountains behind and head east, expecting the land to flatten and calm, but America has one more surprise. Out here, under South Dakota's sky, the ground suddenly breaks open. It twists. It shatters. It looks like the earth itself has unfinished business. This is Badlands National Park, and nothing prepares you for it. From Big Badlands Overlook, you see it first. Jagged spires and deep gullies stretching to the horizon. The land looks sculpted, but by whom? Step closer, and the silence hits heavy, expectant. Prairie dogs pop up, standing tall like tiny sentinels, watching your every move. Coyotes call from far-off canyons. Bison drift across distant ridges, moving slow, deliberate, almost like they're reminding you, this place has rules and you're just visiting. Follow the trails deeper. Notch Trail narrows into cliffs and hidden passes. Saddle Pass twists you through ridges that almost feel alive. Wind whistles through gullies, carrying the faint scent of ancient bones. Fossils lie embedded in the earth, remnants of creatures from 75 million years ago. Some extinct, some mysterious. Every step you take makes you wonder, what else is buried here, waiting to be discovered? Beyond the official trails lies Sage Creek Wilderness. Here, the land feels untouched, almost secret. Bison roam freely across the plains, unbothered by humans. Wolves patrol in the distance, shadows moving across the hills. Silence dominates, broken only by the rustle of grass and the wind carving the landscape. It's easy to feel like you've stumbled into another era, one where survival isn't optional, and every creature plays a role in the story of the land. Leave the jagged edge of the Badlands, and the world shifts again. Suddenly, trees rise tall, dark and ancient. This is the Black Hills, and make no mistake, these forests hold secrets. The Needles Highway twists through granite spires and granite towers that pierce the sky. Bighorn sheep cling to the rocks, moving with fearless precision. Deer and elk move silently through forests. Black bears wander where shadows deepen, and lakes, like Sylvan Lake, hide reflections so perfect, you swear the world paused to admire itself. History lingers here too. Crazy Horse Memorial tells a story of resistance and cultural pride. Crazy Horse Memorial was born from a promise to honor the Native American hero Crazy Horse, a Lakota war leader who resisted U.S. expansion in the 19th century. Unlike other monuments, this one isn't finished. Carved into Thunderhead Mountain, it's meant to show him on horseback, pointing toward the land he fought to protect. The unfinished stone reminds visitors that history is still alive, that some stories take generations to tell, and that some heroes cannot be hurried. Mount Rushmore, by contrast, is a statement of human ambition, carved in the 1930 AD by sculptor Gutzon Borglum. It celebrates 4 U.S. Presidents Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln. But behind the faces lies controversy. The land originally belonged to the Lakota people. So here, history is layered triumph and ambition, shadowed by displacement and debate. The mountains themselves seem to hold both stories, inviting you to look closer and ask, whose history do we see, and whose do we overlook? And as the day dies, the sun sets the Badlands ablaze, and shadows crawl across the black hills, leaving you knowing you've seen only a fraction. Questions linger, mysteries endure. Yellowstone. The morning mist rises from grand prismatic spring like the earth is exhaling rainbows. But here's what'll blow your mind. You're not just admiring a pretty hot spring. You're standing on top of a supervolcano so massive it makes Mount Vesuvius look like a backyard barbecue pit. The entire Yellowstone caldera stretches 34 miles across. And when it last erupted in 640,000 years ago, it buried half of North America in ash. Talk about having an explosive personality. But Yellowstone isn't holding its breath waiting for doomsday. Instead, it's throwing the wildest party on the continent. Grizzly bears lumber through meadows thick with wildflowers, treating salmon runs like nature's version of an all-you-can-eat buffet. Wolves, once extinct here, now patrol their ancient territories with the swagger of royalty reclaiming their throne. And Old Faithful? She's been keeping perfect time for centuries, more reliable than your smartphone's alarm clock. Winter transforms this volcanic wonderland into something from another planet. Bison, their breath-forming clouds in -20 air, use their massive heads as living snowplows, sweeping away powder to reach the grass beneath. These shaggy giants survived ice ages, near extinction, and everything humans could throw at them. If that's not wilderness royalty, what is? From the steaming geysers of Yellowstone, we follow the call of the wild westward, trading fire for stone and endless plains for a land where the earth has been carved into poetry. Our boots lead us into California's Sierra Nevada. Where the wilderness has a way of making you feel small in the best possible way. Welcome to Yosemite National Park, where mountains don't just rise, they command. The first thing you notice here is the scale. It's as if giants once roamed this land and decided to leave behind monuments of their own. El Capitan towers above the valley floor. A sheer wall of granite so massive it looks like the Earth's backbone pushed through the surface. Across the valley, Half Dome curves like a colossal wave caught mid-crash, frozen in time millions of years ago. Climbers cling to its face like determined ants, chasing dreams that most of us would only attempt in video games. But Yosemite's wild heart beats beyond the stone. Wander beneath its ancient sequoia groves, and you'll walk among trees that were already standing when the Roman Empire was just a rumor. Their cinnamon-scented bark and skyscraper trunks feel more like living cathedrals than plants. And then there's the water. From the roar of Yosemite Falls, one of the tallest in North America, to the quiet shimmer of alpine lakes reflecting 1,000 stars. Water is the park's voice, sometimes a whisper, sometimes a thunderous song. Each season paints Yosemite in a new mood. Spring rushes in with snowmelt rivers and wildflowers bursting like confetti across green meadows. Summer warms the granite, drawing bears and deer into sunlit clearings. Autumn drapes the valleys in gold and crimson. While winter hushes the land under a cloak of snow, turning cliffs into frozen temples and rivers into glass. But Yosemite isn't just a masterpiece of nature, it's also a cornerstone of human history. It was here, in these granite halls, that a young John Muir fell in love with the wild and convinced America to protect it. That spark gave birth to the very idea of national parks. A promise that places like this would remain untamed and free for generations yet to come. And as you stand in the valley at dusk, watching light fade across those ancient walls, it's hard not to feel like the wilderness is telling you a secret. One carved by glaciers, whispered by waterfalls, and rooted in trees older than memory. Yosemite reminds us that wild America is more than a place. It's a story still being written, and here, among these granite giants, we're just lucky enough to read a page. Leaving behind Yosemite's granite giants, we head north, chasing the call of the wild into the heart of Wyoming, where the land suddenly remembers how to be dramatic again. There's no gentle rise here, no slow build-up. The earth just erupts into sky. And right there, Sharp enough to poke a hole in the clouds, stand the Grand Tetons, a mountain range so bold and untamed, it feels like nature's mic drop. The Tetons don't mess around. 1 minute you're strolling across flat valley floor, and the next, boom, jagged peaks rocket 7,000 feet straight up, as if the ground itself got tired of being low and decided to stand tall. The tallest of the bunch, Grand Teton, pierces nearly 14,000 feet into the sky, flanked by its rugged siblings like a royal family of stone. And in case you're wondering, yes, French trappers really did name them les trois tétons, the three breasts. Not exactly poetic, but hey, frontier humor was built different. These peaks exist because, long ago, the Earth threw a tantrum. A massive fault split open, shoving the mountains skyward while the valley floor dropped. That's why they look so steep and sudden they are. It's not erosion doing slow work here. It's tectonic drama on a geologic scale. Beneath those sharp summits, the Snake River curls lazily through the valley, reflecting clouds and mountains in water as clear as blown glass. Herds of elk move through the sagebrush like ancient whispers, and bald eagles circle high above, probably judging your hiking speed. If you're especially lucky, you might even spot Grizzly 399, the park's most famous resident, a living legend known for raising cubs right out in the open. She's basically the Beyoncé of the bear world, and she's got the fan base to prove it. Every season here tells a new story. Spring is a burst of life. Wildflowers scatter across meadows like nature's confetti, and snowmelt races down from the peaks. Summer stretches long and golden. Perfect for exploring alpine lakes like Jenny and Jackson, where the water's so cold it'll slap you awake faster than any cup of coffee. Autumn turns the land into a painting of gold and crimson, while winter hushes everything under a blanket of white, and the Tetons sleep beneath the stars. But this landscape isn't just wilderness, it's a human story too. Long before there were hiking trails and guidebooks, indigenous peoples followed the rhythms of this valley, moving with the herds and reading the seasons like a map. Later, pioneers arrived, stubborn enough to try farming in a place where winters bite hard, and wolves used to lurk just beyond the barn door. You can still see their legacy at Mormon Row, where weathered barns stand stubbornly against the Tetons. Those postcard-perfect buildings are more than pretty backdrops. They're monuments to grit. Crossing the Snake River back then wasn't a scenic float trip either. It was basically a dare. A quirky reminder of just how tough life was out here, before bridges and highways made things easy. Leaving the snowy teeth of the Tetons behind, the land begins to change. The forests thin, the rivers run slower, and soon the mountains fade into memory. The world opens into something far older, a landscape that looks less like Earth and more like the surface of Mars after a few million years of meditation. This is Canyonlands, the place where the planet decided to go abstract. Here, the Colorado River didn't just carve canyons, it wrote poetry in stone. Mile after mile of red rock twisted into towers. Mesas and labyrinths that stretch beyond sight. It's hard not to feel small here. The silence is so vast it's almost physical, the kind that presses against your ears and makes you realize how loud life usually is. They say Canyonlands has 4 districts: the island in the sky, the Needles, the maze, and the rivers, each one like a chapter from a different book. The island in the sky floats 1,000 feet above the desert floor, offering views so endless they almost seem fake. Like the horizon's been painted twice. Stand at Mesa Arch at sunrise, and you'll see light pour through the stone like molten gold, igniting the canyon below. For a few fleeting minutes, the entire desert seems to glow from the inside out. Down below, the Needles district rises like a field of red spires, stone cathedrals formed by time, wind, and patience. Every rock feels like it's been sculpted by something divine, with a stubborn sense of humor. The maze, on the other hand, is exactly what it sounds like. Wild, remote, and so confusing that even park rangers admit it's easy to get lost. It's the kind of place where GPS gives up, compasses spin, and the only real guide is instinct, or a very well-prepared map. And then there's the river. The Colorado and Green rivers twist and merge through the canyons like 2 ancient serpents, carving their story mile by mile. From above, they look calm, but down there they're wild, unpredictable and unrelenting. John Wesley Powell, the one-armed explorer who mapped them in the 1800s, called this land a region of wildest desolation, which is explorer speak for, "This place nearly broke me." But just a short drive away, the landscape shifts again, like turning a page to an entirely new chapter of the same story. Welcome to Arches National Park, where gravity seems to have taken the day off. Over 2,000 natural stone arches rise from the desert, delicate bridges of red rock that have no business still standing, yet somehow do. The most famous of them all, Delicate Arch, stands alone on a sandstone bowl, glowing fiery orange against the blue Utah sky. You've seen it on postcards, license plates, and screensavers, but nothing compares to standing beneath it, watching the last light of sunset ignited like a torch. The air here smells of dust and juniper. Lizards dart between cracks. The heat shimmers off the stone in invisible waves. And everywhere you look, the land tells a joke only time could write. Balanced rocks the size of buses perched on pedestals barely wider than your arm. It's strange to think that these arches began as cracks in stone, simple fractures widened by wind, rain, and patience. Nature is an artist that never rushes. Each formation is the result of millions of years of erosion and defiance, standing tall against the odds, whispering the same quiet message: beauty takes time. People have been drawn here for thousands of years. The ancestral Puebloans left petroglyphs, ancient carvings of hunters, spirits, and animals marking the walls with their stories. Centuries later, ranchers, outlaws, and dreamers followed, chasing cattle, freedom, or something they couldn't quite name. And somewhere between the dust and the wind, you realize this land doesn't care who you are. It's seen empires rise and fall, oceans dry into salt, mountains crumble into sand. You're just another traveler passing through, lucky enough to witness what time looks like when it stands still. As the sun sinks and the desert cools, the rocks fade from gold to crimson to deep purple. And when night arrives, the sky turns to black velvet, scattered with more stars than seems possible. Out here, away from everything, you can see the Milky Way stretch across the heavens like a highway of fire.